Welcome to the Prepper Almanac. Thank you for joining us today. In today's video, we are going to discuss ingenious prepper knowledge no one tells you, everyday items for survival. And if I give you value in today's video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. Be sure to watch the video to the end and let me know your thoughts about the video in the comment section below. Please note, after you have watched the video, I have also placed chapters in the description below so you can jump to any section of the video or go back to any item we discussed without going back through the whole video. Now let's get to it, folks. Let's face it, the world can change fast. 1 minute you're checking your fantasy football scores, the next you're wishing you paid more attention to those wilderness survival shows because a prepper situation is upon you. But fear not, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of prepping, and trust me, it's gonna get gritty. We're talking about taking everyday items, the kind of stuff you trip over in your kitchen, and turning them into lifesavers in a disaster situation. No fancy gadgets, no expensive gear, just good old-fashioned ingenuity and a whole lot of elbow grease. This is necessary because in a long-term disaster or even a complete societal collapse, resources will become scarce. So you need to prepare and learn how to use everyday items in a myriad of ways. Let's start today's discussion with PVC pipe. It's like the duct tape of the plumbing world. Versatile, durable, and surprisingly strong. You can find it at any hardware store, usually for less than the cost of a decent cup of coffee. But don't let the low price fool you. This stuff is a lifesaver in disguise. We're talking impact-resistant, weatherproof, and lightweight, making it the perfect material for all sorts of DIY prepping projects to get you prepared for the unexpected. Need to build a shelter? PVC's got your back. Water filtration system? PVC can handle it. How about a makeshift weapon for fending off those pesky raccoons raiding your garden? You guessed it, PVC to the rescue. This stuff is like the Swiss Army knife of the survival world, and today we're just scratching the surface of its potential. Let's talk survival caches. Imagine this. Disaster strikes, you're away from home, and you need to access essential supplies fast. That's where a well-stocked, well-hidden cache comes in handy. It's like your own personal emergency stash, hidden away from the prying eyes of, well, everyone. And guess what we're using to build it? You got it, PVC pipe. Choosing the right spot for your cache is crucial. You want it to be accessible to you, but hidden from others. Think about natural landmarks, like that gnarled old oak tree you used to climb as a kid, or that secluded spot down by the creek. Avoid areas prone to flooding or erosion, and whatever you do, don't bury it in your neighbor's petunia patch. Once you've found the perfect spot, it's time to get digging. Alright folks, let's talk blowguns. Now I know what you're thinking. Are we really making a blowgun out of PVC pipe? Turns out this plumbing supply makes for a surprisingly effective and silent hunting tool. Plus it's a heck of a lot easier to master than that archery set your Uncle Earl gifted you when you were a kid. First things first, you'll need yourself a length of PVC about 1/2 inch thick and as long as you need to get good and accurate. You'll also want some darts. You can buy those online or make your own. Me? I buy them. I'm all about DIY, but some things are best left to the pros. Now the key to a good blowgun is a smooth, airtight seal. You don't want your precious breath escaping before it can launch that dart. A little bit of sandpaper will take care of any rough edges on the inside of the pipe. Remember, we're going for aerodynamic here. Once you've got yourself a polished barrel, it's time to practice your puff. A good blowgunner can take down small game with surprising accuracy. This may be necessary during a long-term disaster when resources are scarce. So you've mastered the art of the PVC blowgun. But what good is a blowgun without a safe and reliable way to transport your darts? That's where the PVC quiver comes in handy. Now building a quiver from PVC is about as straightforward as it gets. Imagine a tube, just big enough to hold your darts, with a cap on one end and maybe a strap for easy carrying. That's it. You can get fancy with different fittings and attachments, but the basic design is pure, unadulterated simplicity. We're going for sturdy, functional, and maybe even a little bit stylish. Once you've got your quiver built, it's time to personalize it. Add some camouflage tape, a cool paint job, or even your initials carved into the side. After all, this is your survival gear. In a survival situation, clean water is about as precious as a winning lottery ticket. Finding it can be a real challenge, but storing it? Well, that's where a little PVC ingenuity comes in handy. Turns out this versatile material isn't just for plumbing anymore. It's the ultimate survival water storage solution. Now, I'm not talking about lugging around gallons of water in your backpack. We're smarter than that. We're going to utilize the space we already have in our vehicles. Think about it, your car, truck, or even that beat-up old RV has all sorts of nooks and crannies just begging to be transformed into portable water reservoirs. Here's how it works. You take a length of PVC pipe, seal off one end with a cap, and you've got yourself a watertight container. Attach a few of these bad boys to the undercarriage of your vehicle using some sturdy straps or clamps, and you've got a mobile water supply that'd make a camel jealous. You can even install a simple spigot at the bottom of each pipe for easy access. No more struggling to pour water from an awkward container. It's like having your own personal water fountain on wheels. Just remember to sanitize everything thoroughly before you go filling it up with that precious H2O. We've talked about storing water, which is essential, but what about getting water in the first place? You're not always going to be lucky enough to find a pristine spring bubbling up. Sometimes you gotta dig deep, literally. That's where a good old-fashioned water dipper comes in handy. Now you could scrounge around for a rusty old tin can, or you could do it the right way with a little PVC ingenuity. We're talking about a simple yet effective design, a length of PVC pipe, cut to size, a cap for the bottom to keep that precious water from dribbling out, maybe a handle fashioned from some paracord as well. Suddenly, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Now let's talk practicality. This isn't just for scooping water from a stagnant pool. It's your multi-purpose tool for survival. Use it to transfer water from a rain collection system, like we talked about earlier. Use it to mix up some concrete if you're building a shelter. Heck, with a little creativity, you could probably use it to make a mean batch of survival stew. The point is, a PVC water dipper is only limited by your imagination. And that, my friends, is the beauty of DIY prepping. You're taking something ordinary, something most folks wouldn't look twice at, and you're turning it into an indispensable tool for survival. Let's face it, when the world goes sideways, the grocery store might not be your best bet as supplies may be limited. That's why any good prepper knows you gotta learn to live off the land. Now, you could till the soil with your bare hands, but I wouldn't recommend it. You'd be surprised how quickly blisters can develop. That's where PVC pipe comes in, like a trusty sidekick ready to tackle those weeds. We're talking shovels, folks, hand trowels, even a makeshift rake if you're feeling ambitious. And the best part? Building these tools is about as straightforward as it gets. Cut the PVC to length, heat it up a bit to make it pliable, and shape it into the tool you need. You can even get fancy and add handles for a more ergonomic grip. Trust me, your future self will thank you when you're harvesting your first post-apocalyptic tomato. You know, they say, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. We're going to teach a man to build a fish trap. This is a simple, sustainable way to catch fish using nothing more than our trusty PVC pipe and a little ingenuity. We're going to create a funnel-like structure that allows fish to swim in, but makes it difficult for them to escape. Now, the design can vary depending on the type of fish you're after and the environment you're in, but the basic principle remains the same. Create a one-way passage for those unsuspecting fishies. And the best part is, this trap is reusable, so you can keep coming back for more. But with a little effort and a few feet of PVC, you'll be well on your way to a fresh-caught meal in a prepper situation. We've all been there. You're staring at a mountain of firewood, and the only thing separating you from a warm fire is the Herculean task of hauling it back to the homestead. But fear not, because today, we're turning our trusty PVC pipe into a firewood fetching machine, a lightweight hauler that even a city slicker can appreciate. Now, I'm not talking about some flimsy contraption that'll buckle under the weight of a couple of twigs. We're building a workhorse here, something that can handle a serious load of logs. We're talking about a frame built from PVC, with wheels sturdy enough to handle rough terrain. And the best part? You can customize it to fit your needs. Need something compact for hauling smaller loads? No problem. Adjust the dimensions, use smaller wheels, and bam, you've got yourself a firewood caddy perfect for those quick trips to the woodpile. Got a longer haul or a larger woodpile? Scale it up. Add some extra bracing, bigger wheels, and you'll be moving mountains of firewood in no time. The beauty of this project lies in its simplicity and versatility. Now, for those of you with a little livestock to look after in disaster situation, you know that keeping those critters fed is a full-time job. But lugging around heavy feed buckets? That's enough to make a rancher lose their patience. Let's discuss a solution that's going to make feeding time a whole lot easier. A livestock feeder crafted from PVC pipe. We're talking about a gravity-fed feeder that's easy to build, easy to fill, and most importantly, easy on your back. This is a modern marvel of PVC engineering designed to keep your feed dry, your animals happy, and your workload manageable, especially in a prepper situation or in a societal collapse when you need to be self-reliant. We're talking about a system that utilizes gravity to dispense the feed, so there's no more scooping and hauling for you. Whether you're raising chickens, rabbits, or even a few goats, this PVC feeder can be customized to fit your needs and the size of your animals. Now, in a true disaster situation or a complete societal collapse, you need to be very careful. You may need to be seeing over walls or around corners. With a couple of pieces of PVC, some mirrors, and a little ingenuity, we'll be peeking over fences and scoping out the situation in no time. So grab your PVC, grab those mirrors, and let's get to work. Now let's talk about building a shelter. And not just any shelter, we're talking about a sturdy, reliable structure, all thanks to the magic of PVC pipe. Preppers are ingenious, and we always need to increase our skill set because we never know when we'll need these skills. Now you might think of PVC as just plumbing material, and you wouldn't be wrong, but it's also the ultimate building block for all sorts of projects. Lightweight, durable, and weather-resistant, PVC is the duct tape of the building world. We're going to use it to create the frame for a shelter that can house livestock, protect your crops, or even give you a dry place to sleep when the weather turns sour. We're talking about creating a structure that can withstand the elements, provide shelter from the wind and rain. And the best part? PVC is so versatile you can customize your shelter to fit your exact needs. Alright folks, we've covered a lot of ground so far in this video for our prepping journey, but what's a good prepper to do without a little ancient weaponry? A PVC bow can mean the difference between a belly full of squirrel and, well, an empty stomach. First things first, safety. We're working with tools and tension here, so eye protection and a clear workspace are non-negotiable. Remember, this isn't a toy, it's a tool, and respect for tools is rule number 1 on any job site, even if that job site is your own backyard. Now for the build, you'll need a length of PVC pipe, schedule 40 works best, about your height. Heat the pipe carefully and evenly to give it a slight bend. This creates the draw weight and gives your arrow some oomph. Once it's cooled, you'll need to fashion a bowstring. Paracord or even strong twine will do the trick. Remember, practice makes perfect. Start with smaller game and work your way up, and never ever point your bow at anything you're not prepared to eat. That's just good woodsman sense right there. Let's switch gears in today's discussion to Q-tips. Q-tips, cotton buds, cotton swabs, or whatever you want to call them, can be found in almost every single household. So if you're a prepper, you may as well learn how to use cotton swabs in a survival scenario. Here's what you can do with them. Apply antibiotic ointment. Pack bandage material into a wound. Get debris out of your eyes. Brush your teeth. Clean electronics, clean glass, lubricate zippers, wick moisture. Get all the liquid out of a bottle. Clean fans, apply glue, light candles, make a fire starter, start a fire, make fire starting kit, clean corroded batteries. These tiny tools might seem insignificant, but their versatility can make a big difference in a pinch. So next time you see a cotton swab, remember it's more than just a hygiene product, it's a multi-tool in disguise. Stay resourceful, stay prepared, and always keep an eye out for the hidden potential in everyday items. Let's talk about rocks next, and why they are one of the most versatile survival tools. Prevent exposure. When you're in a survival situation, gusting winds can be a serious problem. Build a stone wall that blocks the wind. It will keep your fire burning strong and protect you from chilling gusts. If you're lucky enough to find a large boulder, then no building is necessary. Simply sleep on the leeward side. A rock makes a pretty good, if rudimentary, weapon as well. When you think about it, a bullet is more or less just a really great rock. Kind of. Anyway, throw rocks at things. You can get birds and small rodents this way. If you use a leather or cloth strap as a sling, you can hurl rocks even harder. If you tie a rock to a stick, now you've got a club. Go club stuff. Trap something. One of the best ways to kill with a rock is to build a deadfall trap. A deadfall trap consists of a large rock that's been propped up over a piece of bait. When an animal triggers the trap, the rock falls and crushes it. You've almost definitely seen an example of a deadfall trap while watching Looney Tunes. If you've never seen Looney Tunes, then we'll assume you grew up under a rock. In that case, we trust that you're well versed in deadfall traps, if nothing else. Start a fire. A classic fire starting technique is striking a piece of flint with a piece of steel, creating sparks. While there are now manufactured materials that are referred to as flint, flint is a naturally occurring rock. It's harder to use than store-bought products, but still effective if you've got the survival skills to use it correctly. If you're lucky enough to find some flint, making fire is one of the best things you can do with a rock. Craft practical survival tools. If you find a rock that will cleave into layers, you've got a great piece of rough material for a tool. Chip away at your rock by hammering it with a larger, stronger stone. On the right rock, you can chip a blade that's incredibly sharp. Secure it to a handle or stick and you can make a knife, a spear, or even an axe. Boil water. If you want to drink water without getting a parasite and you don't have a fireproof container, you've got two options. Either quit being so picky and embrace the worms, or use some rocks. By heating rocks and adding them to a full container, you can boil and purify your water or even cook food. This will work in a water bottle, bucket, or even a hollowed-out log. Have patience though, you're going to need a lot of rocks. Important safety note, rocks that contain even trace amounts of water can explode when heated. As we hope you realize, incidents like this are direct obstacles to your survival. Only use completely dry rocks for this and test them by heating them on a fire that's very far away from your face. Cook your food. When cooking food, you might not immediately think about digging it up from a hot pit of dirt and rock. However, roasting food in a pit produces succulent, moist meat and fish. To use the pit technique, dig a hole, line it with rocks, and light a fire. When the fire has burned down and the rocks are hot, put your food in and bury everything. Cooking in a pit is a time-tested technique that's used all around the world. In a survival scenario, every bit of material counts, and aluminum foil is no exception. And this is a supply that you can pick up easily in bulk at the local dollar store or Costco. This everyday kitchen item can be a lifesaver in numerous ways. Let's dive into some ingenious uses for aluminum foil that every prepper should know. First, help your seedlings and grow plants by creating a makeshift greenhouse. Line the inside of a box with foil to reflect light onto your plants, promoting growth. Next, keep pests and birds away by hanging strips of aluminum foil around your garden. The reflective surface scares them off, keeping your crops safe. Protect trees from gnawing animals by wrapping the base with foil. This simple barrier can save your trees from significant damage. For the anglers out there, you can catch fish with a makeshift lure. Simply fashion a shiny, attention-grabbing lure out of foil to attract fish. In a pinch, you can even start a fire. Use foil to create a reflective surface that focuses sunlight onto tinder, igniting it. Protect your hands from burns by fashioning a quick pair of gloves. Fold the foil into multiple layers and wrap it around your hands. Make char cloth by wrapping fabric in foil and heating it in a fire. This creates a highly flammable material useful for starting fires. Keep things dry by wrapping them in foil. This is especially handy for electronics and matches. For those who need to fry or cook food, aluminum foil can be used to make a cooking surface or even a makeshift frying pan. Block wind by creating a barrier with foil, protecting your fire from gusts and keeping it burning strong. Clean your grill and clean up ashes by scrubbing with a ball of aluminum foil. It's abrasive enough to remove grime but won't damage your grill. Make a solar oven by lining a box with foil to reflect sunlight onto your food, cooking it without a traditional heat source. Catch drippings and collect rainwater by shaping foil into a container. This can be a lifesaver when water is scarce. Boil water by creating a makeshift pot with foil and placing it over a fire. Make a funnel for transferring liquids or a plate for eating by shaping foil into the desired form. Scrub pots and pans or remove rust by using a ball of foil as a scouring pad. Protect soap from getting mushy by wrapping it in foil when not in use. Fix loose batteries and devices by placing a small piece of foil between the battery and the contact. Enhance antennas by wrapping foil around them to improve signal strength. Signal for help by reflecting sunlight with a piece of foil, catching the attention of rescuers. Sharpen scissors by cutting through several layers of foil. Reflect heat by creating an emergency blanket out of foil, keeping you warm in cold conditions. Find your way at night by using foil to reflect light from a flashlight, illuminating your path. Lastly, stay dry while you sleep by lining your shelter with foil, providing a waterproof barrier. These are just a few of the many ways aluminum foil can be a versatile tool in survival situations. Always remember, in a pinch, the simplest items can become your greatest assets. How about salt? Salt is an everyday staple that can become a lifesaver in survival situations. Let's explore some ingenious ways to use salt for survival. Food preservation is one of the primary uses of salt in off-grid scenarios. It can help preserve meat, fish, and game caught in the wild. While curing salt is often recommended, table salt can also prevent spoilage. Foods with higher sodium levels tend to stay shelf-stable for longer. Properly cured country ham or salted and smoked fish can last year-round without refrigeration. Salt also has supplemental uses. It provides the nominal amount of dietary sodium once canned and processed foods are gone. During extended emergencies, salt can become scarce, making its preservation crucial. Historically, people would boil off hundreds of gallons of water just to recover a small amount of salt. Taste enhancement is another critical function of salt. Just a pinch can make a significant difference in the flavor of otherwise bland foods. Rice and beans, for example, are much more palatable with some seasoning. For dental hygiene, a salt paste can be used to brush your teeth, providing a simple yet effective cleaning solution. Salt is also effective in removing rust. Make a paste using 6 tablespoons of salt and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Apply the paste to the rusted area with a dry cloth and rub, then rinse thoroughly and dry. When it comes to cleaning, salt works wonders on cast iron skillets and pots. If your cookware is gunked up with bits of food, make a paste from salt and a bit of water, then scrub it clean. For faster results, boil a small amount of water in the pot, add some salt, and use a long-handled brush to whisk away the burned-on food. Salt can also help cut odors from wooden cutting boards. Pour a generous amount of salt directly on the board, rub lightly with a damp cloth, and then wash in warm, sudsy water. To soothe sore throats, gargle several times daily with a mixture of 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 cup of warm water. This solution helps reduce bacteria and irrigates any sores or abrasions inside your mouth and throat. Adding salt to boiling water makes it boil at a higher temperature, thus reducing cooking time. To test egg freshness, place the egg in a cup of water with 2 teaspoons of salt. A fresh egg will sink, while a floating egg should be tossed. Cleaning greasy pans is easier with salt. Add some salt and wipe with paper towels to remove the grease. For those butchering their own chickens, rubbing the skin with salt makes removing pin feathers much easier. To prevent mold on cheese, wrap it in a cloth dampened with salt water before refrigerating. Keeping milk fresh longer can be achieved by adding a pinch of salt. Soaking fish in salt water before descaling makes the scales come off more easily. To kill poison ivy, mix 3 pounds of salt with a gallon of soapy water and apply it to the leaves and stems with a sprayer. If stung by a bee, wet the spot and cover it with salt to relieve the pain. Sprinkle salt at doorways and windowsills to deter ants from entering your home. Salt can also melt snow and ice when sprinkled on it. Occasionally, throw a handful of salt on the flames in your fireplace to help loosen soot from the chimney. For a nasal rinse, mix 1/4 cup of salt and 1/4 cup of baking soda and store in an airtight container. Use 1/4 teaspoon for each rinse to help stop a cold virus, relieve sinus pressure, and aid with seasonal allergies. Soaking sponges in salt water kills bacteria and germs, extending their usability. To prevent greens from wilting, sprinkle some salt on them. Soaking nuts in a salt brine solution makes them easier to crack, resulting in more whole nuts. Wash dirty greens in a salty solution to make the dirt come off more easily. For cleaning wounds, a saltwater solution creates an inhospitable environment for bacteria and germs, making it excellent for wound irrigation. Salt is also crucial in salting and drying hides for tanning. Fresh hides are salted to prevent spoilage and start the drying process, often requiring several saltings. A warm salty solution can help eliminate odors from your sink drain without damaging pipes or septic systems. These are just a few ways salt can be a versatile tool in survival situations. Always remember, the simplest items often become your greatest assets in a pinch. By the way, if you are enjoying the video so far, please like the video and put the number 1 in the comment section below. Now let's discuss uses for silica gel packets. If you recently bought new clothing, shoes, or even electronic devices, then you surely came across those white packets that say, "Do not eat." Like most people, you are tempted to toss them away with the rest of the wrappings, and by doing so you actually throw away one of the best allies you could have in your fight for survival. What are silica gel packets, anyway? The small bags, which seem stuffed with tiny salt grains, are in fact filled with silica gel, a chemical desiccant. This is a substance that can absorb and hold moisture. Due to its porous surface area, a single bead can absorb up to 40% of its mass in water. That is why we find them in many products that can be damaged by water. Keep your seeds dry. Your pantry should contain generous amounts of various seeds from vegetables and fruits alike. They are a great source of vitamins, and their preservation is essential for long-time survival. To guarantee them dry storage, place a few packs of silica gel in and around the containers where you store your seeds. Prevent meds from deteriorating. If you are taking prescription medicine or just regular vitamins, it is crucial that you keep them dry. Place some silica packs in the bottle and your problem is solved. This tip is especially useful if, like most people, you keep your aspirin in the bathroom cabinet. Keep your razor blades sharp. Using a razor blade multiple times is not that big of a deal. more so if it's made from good quality material. However, even these blades tend to rust in the long term. To prevent that, place the razor into a Tupperware box and add some silica gel bags to it. Keep pet food fresh. It doesn't matter if you have a dog, a cat, a parrot, or all of them together. Buying bulk food is always a cost-effective solution. The only downside is that over time, the food pellets might get soggy. By adding silica gel to the bulk bags, you can keep the food fresh and dry for an extended time. The only thing that you will have to remember is to keep them out of the scoops you add to the serving bowl. Protect important documents. An experienced prepper knows that storing important documents is just as crucial as storing food or water. Having legal papers in poor condition can get you in trouble when you least expect. To avoid this situation, keep a few silica gel bags in the drawer where you keep legal contracts and other important files. Keep your windows from getting condensation. During the colder months of the year, it is common for glass windows to become covered with condensation. This happens when there is a more significant difference in temperature than usual between your house and the outside weather. To prevent your windows from permanent damage, keep a few silica gel bags in your windowsills. Maintain your tools rust-free. A true prepper keeps tools handy. It is one of the reasons why a toolbox is rarely closed. However, this often leads to many utensils developing rust, which destroys them over time. To keep the humidity in the toolbox at the lowest level, place some silica gel among the tools and you will never have to worry about them rusting away. Preserve old books. Not everybody loves the smell of an old book. Actually, many old volumes have been stored in terrible conditions and developed an equally lousy scent. To get rid of the awful stench, place it in a bag with silica gel and very soon, the odor will be gone. In a true prepper situation, you may not have access to the internet and you need your survival books preserved. Dry your wet clothes. If you come home after foraging for food in the rain and don't have the ability to dry your clothes using a clothes dryer, you can store your dampened clothes then with a few silica gel packs carefully placed in their pockets or inside the fabric. Dry out fishing flies. This is an excellent tip for fly fishermen who usually have to deal with waterlogged flies. Before going fishing, take some time to crush a few silica gel pellets and store the powder in a small jar. As soon as you find that your fly is overused and soaked, put it in the jar and mix well. In just a few seconds, the fly will regain its freshness. Protect your weapons and ammo. Careful storing of firearms and ammunition is essential for any gun owner. Put some silica gel bags in the ammo box or the gun cabinet to keep ammo viable. Boost your garden. If you have a small vegetable garden, but you find it hard to acquire the necessary compost, pour some silica gel pellets into the ground. This will help the natural growth of plants by ensuring there is moisture available in the soil. It can also help to keep rodents and some insects away. As an ant repellent, one of the less known uses for silica gel is its effect against household parasites. If you're struggling to get rid of ants inside your home, just locate their nest and pour some crushed silica gel beads into it. In only a matter of days, your house will be ant-free. Keeps fishing hooks sharp and rust-free. Storing a few silica packs with your fish hooks will help prevent rust, which can affect how sharp the point stays. Often when you buy hooks at the store, there will be a small silica ball in the package. Protect precious metals. If you store precious metals as part of your long-term preps, you can add silica gel to help prevent any tarnish or discoloration that may impact their use later on. Safe loft, garage, and basement storage. If you have items stored in these locations, they will have a higher chance of being affected by excess moisture. You can add silica gel packs to totes and bags to help reduce any excess moisture and protect your belongings. Keep unused vehicles fresh. If you have a vehicle that you don't use every day, such as a dedicated bug-out vehicle or your old beat-up truck, you can add silica gel packs around the interior of the vehicle to keep mold and dry rot at bay. Prevent mold. If you have areas in your home that are prone to mold, you can use silica gel to help combat unwanted flowering of mold. Just put packets in the corners or walls and floors to reduce the overall moisture in the area. Keep sewing kits and needles dry and sharp. Tossing a couple of silica gel packets into your sewing kit will keep the needles from rusting. Save your cheese. Keeping a few packets of silica gel inside the container with your cheese will significantly slow the growth of any mold and make your cheese stay fresher longer. Make a personal cooling device. If you are often outside in the hot weather and would like a way to keep cool while you are working, you can make a cooling pack using silica gel. Place the loose silica beads inside of a sewn tube, usually about 18 inches long and an inch wide. Close up the other end, but make sure the beads are not packed in the tube too tightly so the pack will remain flexible. Before heading out in the heat, Soak the pack in cool water, and then place around your neck on your bare skin. As you heat up, the pack will absorb heat and the water in the silica will evaporate, dissipating heat and keeping you cooler. Keep tobacco fresh. If you keep tobacco as part of your preps, or if you use it for yourself or even as a barter item, you can keep moisture away by using the silica gel packets. Toss them into your bag with the tobacco, or store them in the container that the sealed bags are packed in, and you will know that your tobacco will be usable when you need it. Make insect repellent. You can crush the silica gel beads into a powder and use it as an insect repellent, or as an insect killer. I would not recommend using it on flying insects, however. Placing the powder along or under baseboards or other known entry points will stop the bugs in their tracks. You can also pour it into a nest such as a yellow jacket hole and it will kill them. It works by sticking to their body and dehydrating them until they die, which is generally fairly quick. Soap is one of the most versatile items you can have in your prepper kit. Beyond its obvious role in hygiene, soap has a multitude of practical uses that can make your survival situation a bit easier. Let's review some of these lesser-known uses. First, keep bugs off your plants. Soap works as an insect repellent and can protect your plants from being eaten by bugs. Mix soap with water until it's sudsy, then put the water solution in a bottle and spray the underside of plant leaves. Got itchy bug bites? Rub the bites with a dampened bar of soap for instant itch relief. It also helps keep the bites clean. Need to mark a hem? Instead of using store-bought marking chalk, use a sliver of bar soap to draw a line for a hem. It washes out more easily than chalk, and you may not have access to chalk in a prepper situation. For garden bug repellent, place a bar of soap in your garden to keep pests away. This will be needed to protect your survival garden. If you need a wasp spray, you can mix almost any amount of liquid soap with water in a spray bottle. A good solid long squirt in the bottle, then fill with water. Swoosh it around to mix it up and spray on wasps or nests. To rid your house of fleas, place some liquid soap in a bowl mixed with water under a light. It will attract fleas and they will drown. Stuck or rusty zippers? Loosen them by sliding some bar soap up and down the zipper. To detect gas leaks, mix a solution of water and soap and rub along pipes. If it bubbles, you found your leak. For soot prevention, if you're planning a dinner outside and using a cast iron pot, rub a bar of soap over the bottom of the pot before you set it over the open flame. The soap will make for easy cleanup, as it will prevent the soot from accumulating. To halt squeaks in floorboards, work a little moist soap into the cracks between the boards. You need to be as quiet as possible in a prepper situation. For a stiff door lock, lubricate the key by rubbing it with soap. Keep eyeglasses from steaming in cold weather by rubbing both sides of each lens with soapy fingers, and then polish. For deer and rabbit repellent, Irish Spring soap works wonders. Cut the bar soap into pieces or shavings, and place them in nylon stockings to hang in strategic areas. Even though you may want them around for potential food, protecting your crops is crucial. Make sliding glass doors slide easier by rubbing soap on the bottom track of the doors. To help a sewing needle go through fabric easier, stick the needle into soap. Quiet squeaky belts on cars by applying soap to them. Get worms out of the ground for fishing by making a solution of soap and water and pouring it on the ground. Wait for the worms to come up. Before working with greasy or oily machinery, lather up with soap, wipe off the excess, but don't rinse. This makes for easier cleanup afterward. With these practical uses, soap is truly a prepper's unsung hero. Make sure you have plenty on hand for any situation that might come your way. Now let's discuss some incredible uses for steel wool. Believe it or not, there are multiple uses for steel wool that are applicable in a survival situation. But first, let's discuss what steel wool actually is. You probably have a few pieces in your kitchen to help clean off encrusted gunk that's stuck to your favorite kitchen pans. Steel wool is essentially little more than a bundle of wiry steel filaments. The material is fine, flexible, and abrasive. Steel wool is also incredibly cheap and can be purchased by the pad or by the bundle. Its most common uses are for cleaning household items and polishing wooden objects. However, you're about to learn these handy little guys can be used for so much more, especially in a prepper situation. Sharpened scissors. Keep your scissors sharper longer by cutting through pieces of steel wool. Rodent control. Steel wool is a cheap, efficient tool for keeping out those nasty mice and rats from your house, tent, or any other living space. Simply stuff the steel wool into small cracks and small open spaces, or use them to plug a hole, perhaps in your baseboards, pipes, or small entryways, and cover the steel wool with duct tape. When the vermin come to their normal hideout, they'll immediately begin chewing on the steel fibers. This will ultimately lead the animal to experience severe mouth pain and even death, allowing you to keep your food and loved ones safe. Start a fire. If you've got a 9-volt batter and a bit of steel wool, this is a huge time saver in starting a fire. If not, get prepared now or regret it later. Simply pull the steel wool apart so it's fluffy, the thinner the strands, the better, and rub the battery leads on top of it. The wires will immediately ignite, giving you a little time to add more tinder and keep the fire going all night long. The ability to start a fire with natural material is huge. Find out tips on this and more here. Erase your steps. With a little water and a steel wool pad, your black heel marks will disappear on vinyl flooring. This is crucial if you want to travel unnoticed, especially if you are checking abandoned buildings for supplies. Tighten a loose screw. Wrap the loose screw in steel wool and insert it into the hole. The steel wool will not only tighten the screw, even if the hole's been loosened over time, but also keep it in place. You can find this and other useful tips, such as how steel wool will hush a motorcycle here. Scrape off rust. Rust can be incredibly damaging to your precious resources, i.e. your car and your guns, and you'll need to protect these as much as possible. Scrape off that harmful rust with a steel wool pad. Clean off car windshields. Nobody likes driving with a dirty windshield, but not many people carry Windex in their survival packs either. Simply wet the steel wool with water and scrub the glass. Make sure to use Quad Zero steel wool to keep from scratching, to get rid of dirt and debris. This can also be used for windows and any other glass materials, and you need to be able to see clearly when moving around quickly in a prepper situation. Scrub pots. The great thing about steel wool is that it's tough on dirt and deposits, but softer than most abrasives and won't scratch the underlying material. Therefore, this makes a great scrubbing tool for when your food utensils get dirty and corroded. Clean off your knives. Knives are a vital asset for survival preparedness for obvious reasons. That's why you need to keep them clean and rust-free. If they're really dirty, all you have to do is scrub the sides of the blades to clean them. Warning, if you end up rubbing the wool on the actual edge of the blade, then it might dull the blade. Now let's discuss smart uses for sugar. You might think sugar is just for sweetening your coffee or baking treats, but in a survival situation, it can be a real lifesaver. Here are some incredible ways to use sugar when you're in a pinch. Treat a wound. You can treat wounds with a sprinkle of sugar. This isn't just an old wives' tale, it's a wise truth. A recent study showed that pouring granulated sugar on bed sores, leg ulcers, or amputations before dressing killed the bacteria that prevent healing and cause chronic pain. This can be crucial when medical care is scarce. Soothe a singed tongue. For those times when you've taken too quick a gulp of too hot coffee or pizza, sugar can ease the sting. Suck on a sprinkle of sugar or a sugar cube and the pain should quickly dissipate. In a prepper situation, you can't afford to be distracted by a burnt tongue. Battle nematode worms in the garden. If the plants in your garden have unsightly knots at the roots, they may have fallen prey to these microscopic parasites. To combat them naturally, apply 5 pounds of sugar for every 250 square feet of garden. The sugar will feed microorganisms, increasing the organic matter in the soil and making it a hostile environment for nematodes. Protecting your survival garden is essential. Trap wasps. Make a simple syrup by boiling sugar and water, then fill a jar with it and set it outside to attract wasps. They will fly in and become trapped, keeping you and your food safe. Make a natural fly strip. Fly strips can be unsightly, but flies on dinner can be even more so. If you can't scoot them out the window and require relief, you can make all-natural fly strips. Combine equal parts sugar, honey, and water in a saucepan. Boil the mixture, stirring occasionally until thickened. Let it cool. Cut pieces of brown packing tape, punch a hole on one end and make a loop with string through the hole. Dip the strips in the mix, hang to let excess drips drop, and then hang where the flies are most active. Make a roach motel. Well, more like a roach's last supper. Mix equal parts sugar and baking powder and sprinkle it over areas of infestation. The sugar attracts the buggers and the baking powder exterminates them. Replace frequently to keep your space pest-free. Prevent cheese from molding. Some swear that storing cheese with sugar cubes will prevent it from molding. This little trick can help you extend the life of your precious food supplies. In a prepper situation, thinking outside the box can make all the difference. Sugar isn't just for sweet treats, it's a versatile tool that can help you survive. Now super glue. It's one of those products that packs a punch far beyond its tiny size. In survival and emergency situations, it's a must-have in your toolkit. Let's explore some surprising uses for super glue that can make a big difference when you're in a pinch. First off, woodwork made easier. If you're working alone, holding 2 pieces of wood together while you nail or screw them in place can be a challenge. With super glue, you can secure the wood long enough to free up your hands to work with your hammer or drill. And since super glue isn't meant to permanently secure wood, you can easily take your structure apart later if needed. Next, let's talk about closing wounds. Super glue is surprisingly effective at sealing cuts and closing even considerable wounds. Disinfect the cut, make sure it's no longer bleeding, press it closed, apply a thin layer of glue and keep it closed until it's dry. This forms a barrier to keep out germs and ward off infection. However, for major lacerations that are bleeding badly, it's best to stick to traditional bandages. Have a tear in your tent? No problem. Repairing tears in a tent is easy with super glue. Press the tear together and glue it closed. For holes, make a patch out of fabric and glue it over the hole. Super glue can also stop pulls in clothing. Snip the pull with scissors and apply a small drop of super glue over the tiny piece that's left to prevent the garment from unraveling. For bow hunters, fletching arrows is crucial. If specialized fletch glue isn't available, super glue will work in a pinch. Place a line of glue down the track where the fletching was originally located and press the new fletching into the glue until it's dry. Got a leak? Whether it's in your shelter or your canteen, super glue can provide a temporary fix. Just ensure the glue is fully dry before using a container for drinking to avoid ingesting any toxins. Broken dishes? With some patience and super glue, you can piece a broken dish back together. It might not look perfect, but it will be functional. Super glue is also great for stopping fraying in cords and ropes. Cap the fraying end with super glue or apply it to the frayed area to extend the life of the cord. If the soles of your shoes are wearing off, a little super glue can secure them back in place. For a more durable fix, wrap some duct tape around the shoe after applying the glue. Need an adhesive filler? Sprinkle baking soda in the area that needs filling, then drop super glue onto the baking soda. The reaction will harden and make a great adhesive filler. Just be careful to avoid skin contact as it produces heat and could cause burns. Finally, super glue can help in making tools and weapons. It won't hold a spearhead on its own, but can provide extra support for your lashing or hold the head in place while you secure it. In a pinch, super glue can even serve as a duct tape alternative, allowing you to make temporary fixes for almost anything. With these surprising uses, super glue proves to be an indispensable tool in any survival kit, showcasing its versatility and importance in emergency situations. If you're stuck in a survival situation or another emergency without the tools you need, it can not only be uncomfortable but downright deadly. However, with the right knowledge, t-shirts have unlimited uses for survival. Whether you're wearing one or have a couple of extra old ones in your get-home bag, GHB, or bug-out bag, Bob, you'll be prepared for just about any survival scenario. First up, you can replace a broken shoelace using the strip of hem from around the bottom of your t-shirt. If you don't have an extra shirt, you can even cut the hem from the one you have on and still wear it. Got a cut and no clean bandages? Bandage a wound with a clean t-shirt. In case of a sprained or broken arm, make a sling by putting the t-shirt around your neck like a necklace. Pull the shirt down and cradle the injured arm inside the shirt, putting your injured hand through the armhole on the opposite side. Need to filter air? Place your t-shirt over your mouth and nose to protect your lungs from smoke or debris-filled air. For gathering berries or other foods, pull up the bottom of your t-shirt to create a makeshift basket. If you need a pillow, tie the neck of the t-shirt closed by knotting the arms together. Fill it with leaves or other soft debris, and tie the bottom closed. To mark a path, tear your t-shirt into strips and use them as markers to find your way back to your campsite or for others to follow. Protect your neck from sunburn and bug bites by draping a t-shirt around your neck or tucking it under your hat and letting it hang down. For shelter, use a tarp with metal grommets and strips from a t-shirt to tie it off on a tree. As a flotation device, tie the arms of the t-shirt closed, fill the space inside with air, and tie or hold the other end shut. Use your t-shirt as a fan to cool down yourself or others when it gets too hot. Make a trap to catch fish for dinner, or signal for help using a bright-colored t-shirt, which is more visible to rescuers. Create tinder from a cotton t-shirt by scraping it with a knife to make it pill. Use the scrapings as tinder for your fire. For a makeshift torch, soak your t-shirt in a flammable liquid, knot it around the end of a stick, and light it. Handle hot pans from the campfire by folding a t-shirt several times to keep from burning your hands. If you don't have a blanket but have extra t-shirts, stitch or glue 10 t-shirts together to make one. For extra warmth, use a sheet on the backside and stuff the space between with other clothes, newspapers, or leaves. To cool off, wet a t-shirt and drape it around your neck. For a clothing patch, use a piece of an old t-shirt to patch a hole in your jeans or jacket. In case of heavy bleeding, Make a tourniquet using an old t-shirt and a stick for leverage. Create cordage by cutting t-shirts into strips and knotting or braiding them together. Collect dew or rain by wiping a t-shirt over dew-covered grass or hanging it during a rainstorm, then wring it out into a container or directly into your mouth. Lastly, make a cushion by tying or sewing the collar of a t-shirt closed, stuffing it with leaves or other soft materials, and tying or sewing the hem shut. With these versatile uses, a simple t-shirt can be a lifesaver in survival situations, proving that sometimes the most ordinary items can be the most extraordinary tools. As we wrap up today's video, if you have any questions, or if there are any topics that you would like discussed in the future, let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to get video ideas from the community, and let us know what you think of today's video as well. We always appreciate input. Be sure to like today's video and subscribe to the channel to learn more about prepping and share the video with others that may have a passion for prepping or are curious about prepping in general. As I mentioned earlier, I have put chapters in the description of the video. So if there is a section you would like to specifically go back to and rewatch, you can rewatch only the section of the video that you want. And lastly, based on YouTube's algorithm and your viewing history, YouTube is recommending this next video in the top left-hand area of your screen for you to check out next. Enjoy.